Hare Krishna. ISKCON's contributions to the world, part 2, is the topic that we will discuss today. As per the acronym Internationalization, Non-Discrimination, Development, Infrastructure Build-up, and Appreciations. We will discuss in this session, brief talk about internationalization. India's spiritual culture has had appreciations right from its earliest contacts. In fact, there are references in 17th, 18th century when the Europeans first came to India. They felt that we discovered a new culture, new universe. Sanskrit was a language which they discovered as the virtues of both Greek and Latin. And now Kirtan has become a huge genre within the spiritual mainstream of America. And that has given a huge fillip to Kirtan in India also again. So the spreading of temple worship, the spreading of Kirtan, the spreading of the message of the Bhagavad Gita all over the world. This is what ISKCON has done, and ISKCON is continuing to do this. Initially, when the Soviet Russia was communist at that time, still there were Russians who wanted to practice spirituality based on the Bhagavad Gita, but they were persecuted, and yet they continued on practicing despite the persecution that they went through. And then after communist Russia fell, then a whole group of hundreds of pilgrims came from Russia to India to go to Vrindavan and Mayapur. And at that time, this was such a remarkable event because Russia was considered by legislation to be an atheistic country. So hundreds of pilgrims practicing Krishna Bhakti coming to India. So it created a media sensation. And even the then Prime Minister of India, Rajiv Gandhi, met them and appreciated their devotion. And now the Newsweek magazine has stated that after the fall of communism in Russia, religion has received a huge boost and it is spreading rapidly, and the Hare Krishnas are among the fastest spreading groups over there. So Krishna Bhakti is being spread, especially in Ukraine. There are literally, when there are festivals, there are thousands and thousands of people who crowd the temples or the pandals or the venues wherever festivals are held. So the picture you see over here below is of a festival in Ukraine, and not only in Ukraine or in America or in Europe, but all over the world, people are appreciating India's spiritual culture very deeply. And this internationalization of the spiritual culture of India is a very important contribution that ISKCON has done. And in this way, it is a contribution not just to the world, it is also a contribution especially to India, because every country has its strengths, what it can offer to the world. And India can offer many things, but there are eminent thinkers, even Nobel laureates, who have said that India's moral and India's spiritual wisdom can offer unique contribution to India, to the world. And Srila Prabhupada is helping through the establishment of ISKCON, and the subsequent activities of ISKCON have helped in making the spiritual culture available all over the world and increasing India's respectability and worth in the eyes of millions all over the world. So more and more people are recognizing India as a spiritual superpower. And if India taps its spiritual potential and shares it with the world, India can become the world's unrivaled spiritual superpower. And this internationalization of Krishna Bhakti has been appreciated by eminent leaders and scholars. In America, many scholars have appreciated how how Krishna Bhakti has transformed people in such a substantial way. And in India also, when the glory of India Vedic Cultural Center and Temple was opened in New Delhi, then the then Prime Minister of India Atal Bihari Vajpayee came for the inauguration of the temple, and he said that in this age of globalization, ISKCON is the first organization that has globalized Krishna Bhakti, and especially the message of the Bhagavad Gita. And this is a message that this contribution is something which Indians can be proud of. Similarly, when the ISKCON's Pune temple was inaugurated, at that time the President of India, Pranab Mukherjee, came, and he said that the astonishing way in which Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON have spread Krishna Bhakti all over the world is one of the remarkable events in modern history. And the same has been said by the very well respected scholar A.L. Basham, who is well known as the author of the book The Wonder That Was India. So he said that just within a few decades, where there was practically no existence of Krishna Bhakti in America, a movement has come and has altered in a significant way the cultural landscape of America. This is one of the most significant events in modern history. So today there are temples of Krishna and there are Krishna Bhaktas in practically every country of the world, definitely in every continent, and there are festivals celebrating Krishna's birth, Krishna's appearance, Janmashtami, and there is especially Ratha Yatra, which is celebrated in metropolis, in all the major metropolis of the world. And it is a much loved festival where people from not just Indian expatriates, but people from various denominations come and join this festival of dancing and singing and pulling the Ratha Yatra cart. And it has become, in many parts of the world, a much loved part of the cultural landscape, of the cultural calendar of the local area. So especially, for example, in Poland, the devotees have worked do Festival of India, where they build big pandals, movable pandals, and there they have yoga, they have Bharatanatyam, they have Indian decorations, sari, bindi, and then they have demonstrations of spiritual truths through dioramas, exhibitions, and they have kirtans. And some of the festivals, some of the devotees have also been invited at the Woodstock festival, and at one time 20,000, 40,000, 100,000 young people are given prasad free, they participate in the dancing and singing of kirtans, and it creates a spiritual wave among people. So the Times of India, once in one of its editorials about ISKCON, wrote an article titled Rebirth of Krishna, that what is India's greatest export commodity? So is it Indian software engineers who have gone to many countries in the world? Is it English speaking Indians who have become expatriates in various countries? There are many countries in Africa, in Europe, where we go, we may find very few Indians there, but even there we find Krishna Bhaktas. So Krishna has become the #1 export commodity of India, and that has been done by ISKCON's efforts at sharing India's spiritual culture. So the Times of India said that Krishna has become India's #1 export commodity, and through this India's spiritual glory has spread far and wide, and millions of people are appreciating India, considering them as their spiritual sanctuary, and they come to India for getting spiritual shelter, so in solace and rejuvenation, go to the pilgrimages, and their presence also rejuvenates Indians' faith and appreciation in their own culture, and it leads to a revitalization of bhakti even in India. So there has been a symbiotic effect, India going to Indian spiritual culture going all over the world, inspiring people all over the world, and then those foreigners coming to India and inspiring Indians. So in this way, is one of ISKCON's foremost contributions is the internationalization, the globalization of India's spiritual culture. Thank you. Hare Krishna.